Okay, so here we go. It's Tuesday, the 23rd, and that usually means Tuesday these days means Japanese Knife 101. Now I'm here by myself for a moment. We're having a little bit of trouble with Kevin's camera, so you might just be stuck with me for a couple of minutes, but eventually we'll get there. So today we were going to talk about hand-forged knives versus factory-made knives, which can be, it could be. There's a lot of questions about it, right? That generally will steer someone one direction versus another when we're talking about knives. I don't know what's going on with that. So, it's as good a time as any. And Derek's giving us a wave. Hello, Derek. If you guys, like any other week, right? If you've got any questions, if it pertains to the topic or not, doesn't really matter to me. Make sure you shoot them up into the hello Uber Hype. Make sure you shoot them up into the comments. I've got them all there. I should be able to keep an eye on them and answer any questions you've got. Like I said before, we've got Kevin is going to be joining us shortly, and we will. We'll be able to get down to business. But I may as well do all the housekeeping while I've got the time. Apparently today is our 30th episode. I know. Which is, hey Rob, which is kind of crazy. I guess it's 30th episode since we started doing them again. I don't know. We've been calling things Japanese Knife 101 for a bit. So I'm not too sure where we started counting. But 30 is not bad, Everyone keeps turning up, keeps watching, keeps engaging with us. That's a lot of fun. So, what else we got on the go? Oh, I've got notes. They give me notes now. That's how serious we are. So I get notes now. So I have, oh, hey, Peter. We've got, I'm supposed to tell you to not forget to like and subscribe. Apparently, if you click on that little bell, if you're on YouTube, or if you like it on Facebook, you'll get notifications when we go live. And when we go, oh, hey, Tyler, you'll get notifications when we go live or when we put new videos up. For instance, I know we were hinting at it last week, but this week we had a video go up on YouTube. Mike was teaching everyone how to properly use a cleaver to chop through bones. It's not just a matter of winding up and swinging. Usually, you got some other tricks. I like to use rubber mallet. I think he uses that in the video, and if he does, I'm going to take full credit for him doing it properly. We've got so Tyler's working the line on a Tuesday, and then Greg is equipping his entire family, son, daughter, wife, even grandson, with hand-forged knives. They are enduring tools that will last a lifetime, working pieces of art. And then we got Craig in Halifax saying hello. Hello, everybody. That's very nice of you, Greg. I wish someone bought me a whole bunch of hand-forged knives. I've had to buy them all for myself, sadly. That's all right. Make sure I got what I liked. What else we got on the go? I'm just kind of, guys, I'm killing time till Kevin gets here. So if you got questions, you may as well throw them up in the comments. Okay? Otherwise, you're just going to have to hear me ramble on about things. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of our other store that we've got. It's called Kent of Inglewood. I know Derek has, because he's been into the shop. But Kent of Inglewood's a pretty cool time. It's all about all the other sharp stuff, straight razors, safety razors, campfire knives, hatchets, axes, and then everything that goes along with that, right? Beard care stuff, shaving cream. It's all about kind of, we always say it's like, you go outdoors, you play by the campfire, you get dirty, and then you go inside and you get all cleaned up. Couple of sales going on over there, a couple of promotions. All of March, all razors, safety razors and straight razors are going to be 15% off, including some pretty cool camisories. We've also got, we're doing a 15% off in shave, beard, and body products for healthcare workers. So, you know, if you come into one of the stores and you've got some ID, especially in Alberta, the AHS ID card, I guess. Show one of those, and you get a little bit of love at the till. So, we've got Jonathan said saw the Moritakas restock today. Thank God. I think I've only got 3 of them in my store. But that's one of those things. Like if you sign up for that notify when back in stock, you'll get the information faster than I will. Right? So that's always a good kind of, it's the best way to figure it out, right? Here, I got to close a couple things over on that iPad. There we go. And then Craig bought one of the Homura Kogetsu 240s. Very cool knife and fun to use. Can you tell me anything more about the knife or the blacksmith that isn't on the site? Well, so for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to bring it up on the site here just so I can, believe it or not, haven't committed the entire website to memory. So you guys are lucky I can spell my own name and log into this computer. So those knives, I'll grab one just to show everyone. I don't have the 240 Gyuto. I do have a 210 Gyuto, and they're pretty unique. They're made by a blacksmith named Itsuo Doi, and Doi-san is the son. Now I can never really remember his father's name, and when Kevin shows up, just remind me, and I'll bug him a bit more about it. But Doi-san, his father was known for forge welding at a very, very low temperature, and this is on the website. But his father's is Kajiro Doi. So one of the things that I really like about this particular knife is how hefty it feels. Now, I say hefty, I don't mean hefty in a way that you can kind of kick the crap out of it. But it's got some good weight to it. It's a very, very comfortable knife. I really like the Tsujihiki. It's because that's the Gyuto there. That's a 210 Gyuto, right? It's kind of shallow, but it's got enough room for my big old mitts on the board. The 240 Tsuji is about as tall, but a little bit longer. So it's great. It's great. So, yeah, huge fan. I'm going to just see if Kevin has texted me here. Someone has. Nope, not Kevin. Not Kevin. But in case anyone's curious, Critical Role put a new video up on YouTube. If you're into watching people play Dungeons and Dragons, if you're as big of a nerd as I am, yeah. So he must still be figuring that out. And AJ got a massage. AJ, if you've got a picture of it, shoot it over to me, Chris@knifewear.com. Adrian, we're going to talk about handmade knives versus machine made knives. I wrote machine forged, or someone wrote machine forged. So a couple different options, I guess. Depends on which way you guys want to steer it. A lot of the time, people are going to put a lot of emphasis on handmade versus factory made or machine forged, right? I think it's important to acknowledge that even a blacksmith making a handmade knife is using a spring hammer. All right, it's a big hydraulic machine. I don't know if I think a few of you have watched the movie Spring Hammer that we made years ago. But it's named after the actual piece of equipment. It's a big, it's almost picture like a hydraulic sewing machine, but instead of pushing a needle through, it just brings a hammer down, right? Bang, bang, bang. So what happens though, is, oh, Don, I'll put that up there in a second, Don. What happens is there's more of the human interaction, right? Like a person's experience counts for a lot when making a knife. because there is a lot of stuff, like especially when it comes to forging and whatnot, and the tempering and the heat treating, a lot of it is kind of looking for very particular colors, right? It's not about looking for, it's not a matter of time. It's not about, it's like when you read an old cookbook and it says, place the chicken in an oven preheated to 400 degrees and cook until done, right? People who know how to cook know lots of different ways to tell if the chicken is done, right? If you've got someone who's new to it, you might need to put things in like, you know, until the juices run clear from the cavity, until an internal temperature hits whatever, right? So it's just kind of an interesting, I don't know, something different to kind of think about, I guess. You know, I'm going to see if I can find a way after to put the picture of the knife that AJ got. Maybe worst case scenario, I just look it up on my phone and maybe I can show you on here because that looks pretty slick. Wow. Here, let me see. Can anyone, does that show up well enough? Not really, eh? Because my phone keeps trying to flip it. But it looks like, so he's got a Kuroshu there. Looks like what, a 210? 210 Kuroshu. Looks like white buffalo horn and an ebony handle, perhaps. Naoto doesn't tell me all the cool stuff he does all the time, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, shoot me some more details. That'll be fun. Dawn is saying, and he sliced a pineapple this weekend, trying out the method from our video a couple weeks back, and you did a decent job. You must have done a better job than me.
Send Kevin an invite.
Okay, Kevin has told me to send him an invite. Okay, all right, let's get him in here. All right, guys, bear with me just a second. There we go. Kevin should be here very soon. TJ's asking, when are we going to get the Haruki Kuma Nakiris? I know Naoto's been working pretty hard recently to get more Haruki stuff in. The Kuma is one of my favorite lines. For those of you that don't know, I've got a 240 here. They're made out of SRS 15. I talk about them quite a bit because I have a 210 in this line. I find I reach for it, I would say more than anything else. I've got some pretty fancy stuff, but I reach for the 210 the most often. I find it's one of the easier knives for me to take care of. I'm cooking for 3 kids and a girlfriend, so like I don't really get to spend a lot of time in the kitchen like worrying about cleanup and that kind of thing. It's usually like go, 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 go for me. Because I volunteer a lot as well. I usually got a lot on the go. So stainless steel works a lot better for me. But a neat thing about, so to get back, TJ, not 100% sure. It looks like Naoto's watching. Maybe if he has a better idea, he can chime in. But if you're looking for a knife and we don't currently have it in stock, you can always stick your name on the notify when available list. Any product that we've got that we intend on getting again is going to have the little notify when available button on the page on the website, and you can click on that and enter your email, and that'll put you on a mailing list for the for that particular knife. So it you'll know, like earlier someone had said something about looked like you got Moritaka's restock today. I didn't know anything about that. So what happens is you'll get that email as soon as it hits the website or as soon as it hits the warehouse and they've entered it into inventory. So usually you'll get that notify when back in stock before anyone, before it even makes it to the store, you know. Admiral Longstash, if you want to shoot me a picture, you can do it at chris@knifewear.com. So CHRIS at knifewear.com, and I'll keep an eye out for it. can we get a Haruyuki t-shirt with the robot on it? Well, that would be cool. Do we have those yet? You guys are asking me like hard questions already. If we don't have them yet, I'm sure it's just a matter of time. A little coffee for the day. Yeah, I don't see them yet on the old website, but as soon as we do, that'll be pretty cool. I'd like that. Yeah, that robot logo is pretty cool, eh? Kevin, there you are. I can hear you now, Kevin.
Hey.
But I can't see you.
Well, you have to let me in.
But I clicked on the button. Never had to let you in before.
No, because I screwed everything up today.
Oh. Don't know. I don't know how to fix what you may have done.
Well, you've invited me to the event. Now just let me into the event.
Well, everyone can hear you, but no one can see you.
How do you know they can hear me?
I don't know. If you can hear Kevin, can you please say so?
Can you hear me? Chris, let me in. Let me in, Chris.
I think
Nobody
I have.
can hear me. Nobody has replied that they
No,
can hear
well,
me.
they're a moment behind. They're a moment behind. So, I don't know if that's Everett is saying, oh, they're all saying so. They can hear you. There's been a flurry of you being heard. So now you're just a voice floating in the air.
Well, that happens to me sometimes.
Yeah. So I don't know how to fix that.
That's okay.
Sorry
I'm still
to say.
working on things.
All right. Well, we've had a couple of good questions so far. Craig out in Halifax had got himself a Homura Kogetsu.
Oh, that's nice.
We talked a little bit about that. I haven't really got too deep into the topic of the day of factory made versus hand forged, aside from a little bit of conversation about kind of romanticism and how a lot of people kind of get swayed in, like, you know, as soon as you point at a knife and you say, well, this one's handmade and this one's, you know, more from a factory setting, or, you know, machines are a little more involved, they usually steer towards the handmade one. But some of my favorite knives are by our definition factory made, right? So
yeah, I think the important thing to remember is that when we say factory made, we don't mean that robots, other than the Haruyuki robot, has built these knives like that. Like if you go to the Henkel's website, they used to have a great video. Never showed a human. It was just like a bunch of crashing robots making knives and then eventually putting them in a plastic box. So when we say factory made, we mean like the only difference is I think we should probably just say stamped knives instead, or roller forged.
yeah,
The only difference is that they weren't hammered by a blacksmith.
yeah. But then there's some knives, like, you know, we already talked about the Haruyuki Kuma a little bit with the SRS 15. But one of the really cool things about that knife is that, and Naoto talks about this a little bit more, but there's a whole idea of, like, I don't know what the actual word is, but almost like forgeability. Like there's like certain steels have great benefits that come from forging.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's like the forging effect.
Forging effect. That's the homework I should have done. But it, like SRS 15 doesn't actually get any better by hitting it with a hammer.
No.
So it would kind of just be a waste of time and make them more expensive than they have to be. So
you know, R2 doesn't either.
yeah.
But I, you know, I'm not going to tell Kurosaki not to bother.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, I guess that's part of it too, right? I think, like, we got to see the machines at Haruyuki where they do the roller forging, and it's pretty cool. Like, it looks like a gigantic pasta machine, like these two rollers, you know, and they stick the knife in and yank it out again. which was I thought it was kind of like, I'm sure it's got to be more complicated than that. You know, they're not just doing it with a pair of tongs and poking it in and yanking it out. I don't know if you've ever got your pasta machine jammed up and tried to poke the pasta through with a knife, and then you go to yank it, you go to yank the butter knife back, and you just wrecked everything. I'm sure there's some kind of, you know, consequence that way, but it's yeah, I don't know.
Chris, I'm gonna try something.
Okay, go for it.
You're gonna have to let me in again, though.
Okay, I don't know how I did that, but I'll give it a go.
You used to do it every time up until last week. All right.
Okay.
I'll be seeing you shortly.
All right, you got it. In the meantime, if anyone, please don't be shy with the questions, guys, because it's kind of weird for me to just talk to a screen. Normally I got Kevin, and that kind of keeps things moving. So please don't be shy with the questions. I did bring in something because I know one of the big parts to getting Kevin on the screen today is we had some new knives. Well, they're not new, but they show up in very kind of sparing amounts. Oh, Kyle's got a hard question. How much of the forging effect takes place in those knives that are stamped out from the factory laminated sheet? Ginsand, to be specific. So I'll talk about this fancy knife after, and I'll answer Kyle's question. So the forging effect, what happens when you're forging? Oh, there's Kevin. He made it work. Look at that. You showed up. There you are. You made it happen. Kyle has a hard question. You made it work.
This is gonna work.
Look at that. You showed up. There you are.
Showed up. Thanks for letting me in. Sorry, everybody, that I'm late by 22 minutes.
Oh well, it happens.
Mostly Chris's fault.
Usually. Kyle has a question here, Kevin. How much of the forging effect takes place in those knives that are stamped out from a factory laminated sheet? Ginsand, to be specific. Like, I guess if they're not forged. Oh, I can't hear you. No. Nope. I'm speaking quite a bit. Hey, I don't know what's going on here, folks.
Chris, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Yep. Oh, what's happening is me. I'm a disaster today. I'm sorry.
Kevin's a disaster, guys.
It's a special treat. I've mocked up a Hadayuki box for you.
Oh, fun. That robot's pretty cool.
I printed the sticker and stuck it on. That's all I got to say about that.
Nice.
You were asking me.
I was asking you about
what takes place on those knives that are stamped from laminated steel, Ginsand, to be specific. I don't know about Ginsand, yeah. But generally, if a steel does improve with forging, roller forging does a little bit, but not much. Not as much as a blacksmith with a hammer. You know what? If you talk to Naoto on Friday, tune into Naoto's show on Friday, or if Naoto's watching right now, maybe he can help us be not so stupid.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there anything in the new Fujimoto line we were talking about last week? Nothing yet, Jonathan. They haven't shown up yet. Kevin knows what they're supposed to look like. But,
yeah, they're going to be awesome.
Yeah. But no new news.
And one day they may arrive.
Yeah. TJ says here, Kevin, that we need a T-shirt with the Haruyuki robot on it. And
I'll ask them for the file, see if I can get it.
Yeah.
I like it.
That'll be cool. That'd make a good shirt.
But
Mount Everest is.
I'm going to send a text right now.
There you go.
See if we can't get this to happen.
Yeah. Mount Everest asks.
And it happens.
Sometimes that's all it takes, right? Naoto was telling me the other day about all the texts that he gets during these videos.
I sent him a lot of messages.
Well, he's the guy who knows, right? Mount Everest is saying, are pasta rolling machines common in Japan, or is it mostly done by hand? I would imagine any of like the large scale noodle making is gonna happen by machine. You know, I don't know that. I'm not really an expert on a Japanese household, but I can, from what it looked like to me in the grocery stores, was that people purchased things like ready to go product more than anything. Like you weren't buying a whole chicken in a Japanese supermarket. You were buying, I don't know. I might be full of shit. Kevin, do you know any better than me?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
How likely is like the average person in a like, do you think Mrs. Fujiwara knows how to make noodles? Do you think she makes them by hand, or do you think she buys them?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's not like because
I don't know. I know that I've made gyoza with Shibata-san's wife.
Yeah.
And we bought the gyoza wrappers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Michelle,
I would guess about as common as it is here to make your own pasta.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
great.
It's almost too easy.
I'm coughing a lot. Was I out smoking a J?
Oh, a lefty.
It's legal. It's legal, man.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to answer Michelle's question. What about durability between a handmade and a factory-made knife? I think when we talk about durability, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, when I use the word durability, I'm referring to the likelihood in which it's going to chip. And that has more to do, in my opinion, with the steel that it's made out of and how thin is the knife. So it has more to do with geometry and material than it would process, I think. A lot of the time, a lot of factory-made knives usually are made out of like softer steels. Like there are some more like stamped blades, like the Haruyuki Shiso or the Haruyuki Tantaka-tan. Like they're a super blue carbon with a stainless steel jacket.
Tantaka-tan?
Tantaka-tan?
What's that? Tantaka-tan? Tantaka-tan?
Tantaka-tan. You'd have to be there, everybody.
It just amused me.
Yeah. But you can.
I think I did go out and smoke a J.
You got to contact your neighbors outside smoking weed.
Not these new ones. The old ones were.
Yeah. But you can get like a factory-made knife out of a really hard steel. Like the Miyabi Black Ash is made out of ZDP 189, which is a hugely hard steel. And it's done by hand, or it's done in a factory. But because the steel is so hard and because the blade's so thin, maybe less durable. So yeah, it has more to do with, I guess, the geometry and the materials. I don't know. Kyle is saying that he wants a Fujiwara level Ginsan knife. What you should keep an eye out for, Kyle, is one of those, if they ever turn up again. Fujiwara did these cool Damascus cobalt special knives a few years ago. And they were really, really cool and tough. So, but we haven't seen them in a while, eh? And you've asked a couple times, and Fujiwara, I think he just pretends he can't hear you when you ask about those knives.
Fujiwara land is Fujiwara land.
Yeah. Yeah, he does what he wants. Troy, who came by the other day to get some shaving stuff, wondering what you'd recommend for a tough knife, Kyoto-ish, that you don't have to be afraid to smash garlic, slice into a squash, etc. Hard as you can get without risk of full carbon blades. You know what I really like for those? I like the Haruyuki Kokuto.
Haruyuki Kuma.
Kuma, yeah. Yeah.
I've beat the snot out of my Yokuma. That was my first Japanese blade, and I beat the snot out of that at restaurants.
I think what's important, Troy, when it comes to garlic, is that you don't want to like wind up and smash it.
That's what you do, right?
You know what? I've done it with all kinds of knives, like where I just have the handle off the edge of the cutting board, and I just use the side and a little bit like that, and I've yet to bend one. Yeah. But that's bad? Bad. Okay. And you can do it with almost anything. Just be careful. You know?
Wait, what are you doing, Chris? Mason's calling me. I should probably answer, right?
Yeah, just talk to him. Yeah, it's not like we don't do this every Tuesday.
Hey, Mason.
Lorenzo.
I'm live on TV.
Does anyone know what the rectangular bar in Miyabi's is for? Some squares are filled in near the metal information on the left side of the blade. Is it some kind of barcode to ID them? I think it is. Let me go look at one. Let me grab one. That's a hard question, Lorenzo, and you know that I'm not very smart. But I know what you mean. Oh, it's not on this one. That's weird. Maybe they've done away with it. You won't believe. I gotta look at a different line. That's weird, Lorenzo. I've got a relatively new black okay. So here's like a relatively new like birch wood, but it doesn't have it on either side, right? Normally, what Lorenzo's asking would be right here. But then with this one, which is the black ash, is a little bit older, it's got that weird little bar in it. I've always presumed that it was some kind of barcode or there was some kind of information there, but I never really looked into it. That's a good question for Naoto. He might know. He knows more about that kind of stuff. Naoto should be here every week. It was a lot easier when Naoto was here last week and he had all the good answers. You know about that little bar, Kevin, on a Miyabi? What kind of information is this weird little bar?
Oh, well, it's the winning hand in Sudoku.
Okay,
so
Sudoku.
Okay,
yeah, I didn't think so. But you know what I noticed? So
it's one of those secret Miyabi things, right? Just the way that they all their shapes, they don't have a gyuto, they have a gyuto because they spell it differently. And they have a shotu, which is a shape that me and Naoto have never heard of. And they have they've made up names, and then they say what their knife steel is. They say it's CM 5800 or whatever. Like they've made up all these. So it's like all weird. It's all weird codes they have.
Yeah, I guess it's just like
you have to look into it, I think.
Yeah. So sorry I didn't have a real answer, Lorenzo, but I tried.
It's mostly my fault. I'm not cool. I don't have answers.
The Voog has got a question about walks. Is the 30 centimeter wok big enough for a family of 4 stir fry? No teenage boys. I don't know what size that is. Let me go across the room. I'll see what size this is, and I'll
hold
tell
it up
you.
beside your head, and the Voog can realize if your head is the right size or what. They can figure it out when you hold it there.
Well, the Voog knows that I have a large head.
Exactly.
Oh, Voog, for sure you could. I think you could. Because I made a stir fry last night in a similarly sized saute pan, and it was shit. But this would be good. Like that's my head. You know that I got a big head, Voog. Look at that. You know?
Bigger than Chris Lord head. Chris Lord, I have a big box of stuff here.
Oh yeah. Sean's giving me a look from across the room, like he doesn't know what's going on. It's like the first time he's ever seen one of these. Hey, you know that I've. Come on, bud. Cool. Sure. What do you got there? Oh, I haven't tried that yet.
Well, I've tried all the prototypes. I just haven't tried it with our packaging on it. But I like these. This is the shampoo. It's the only shampoo you need. And this is the gray hair conditioner. Do you know about this, Chris?
I do. You told me about it.
I like this because you don't need it yet, but I've got a couple of gray hairs. I'm actually not doing pretty bad. I'm not doing too bad for a guy that's 65. But got about 8 gray hairs here. But this gray hair thing, it's purple, so it's got a bit of violet dye in it, so it stops any of your gray or white hairs going yellow. But it also has chamomile in it, which lightens your hair color, so the contrast isn't so strong, so it doesn't look like you're so gray.
See, I just look like I don't wash my hair.
Well, that's because you're a greasy teenager.
It's true. It's true. I'm doing all right for 16. Here someone was asking about new stuff coming into the Ottawa shop. I'm just going to give you some stuff that we're expecting next week. How about this? Oh, we're going to have some Kokudo Sentokus. Those have shown up. That's fun.
Oh, only 300 have shown up.
Oh, incredible.
So get them while they're hot.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to have a couple Takeda things turn up. Kurosaki Sasame Nikiri. Some stuff I haven't seen in a while. That's fun. Ooh, Mizaki. We're going to have a Mizaki knife, a Takeda Chinese cleaver. You should come visit next week.
I was fondling that cleaver, actually.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff coming. We're going to have a couple Kuishis, a couple the little baby barbecues. Yeah, there's some fun stuff coming. Who are you, Flying Chaz? I feel like I must have met you before. And then what's Lorenzo saying? What's the difference between Claphams and the board wax on the website? And what's the word on the sharpening stones?
All right. Well, I've got all the answers.
Okay.
The Clapham's board wax has more beeswax in it, less oil, so it doesn't penetrate and moisturize as much, and it gives more of a smooth finish.
Yeah.
Whereas our stuff, because we use it primarily because the Clapham stuff is for like a salad bowl, so that the dressing and stuff doesn't penetrate into it. So we wanted the cutting boards to be actually more moisturized. And same with the handles for our knives. So instead of having that really slick, glossy, waxy feel, we just wanted more oil. So we've changed the formula a bit so that the oil penetrates the wood and protects it. And then the wax is another layer of protection, but it's not as thick, so it doesn't make the boards as slick and slippery. And same with the handles. What are you doing? Showing us texts?
No, this is a picture that Admiral Longstash sent me. Look at that.
Looks like a radicchio.
It's a I believe he just sharpened his Yuki.
Looks like a Yuki and a radicchio.
Yeah, it's a magazine though. He's testing his edge. Looks like he did it. Careful with the magazine paper though. Sometimes it's too thick. Glossy paper is not always the best. It's fun for showing off, but for me, the thinner the better for paper. So, but that's a lovely. I like that picture a lot. That's lovely.
So to go back to Lorenzo, he has two questions. One's the difference between the Claphams and the Knifewear board wax. We've made ours just to protect more, like more moisturizing, more penetrating. Prefer it better. I prefer it for axe handles. I prefer it for knife handles, and I prefer it for cutting boards.
Yeah.
Second question is, what's the word on sharpening stones? Have you heard about this, Chris?
I heard about it from you.
All right. Our last batch of sharpening stones that came in was sharing a container. It was like one of those big sea cans, and Canada Border Services decided they wanted to detain that sea can and inspect thoroughly. I don't know if it was random or if they got a tip or something, and delayed it by about 2 months, which was insane.
Yeah.
And then this is our next, because we place our orders about a year out, right?
Yeah.
So we have everything coming at certain dates. We expect it. So this last batch also has been detained by Canada Border Services. So it's in Vancouver. It's sitting there. All our sharpening stones are there, hanging out. And Canada Border Services got all their all the sea cans they've identified. And like I said, I don't know if they've got like a tip or if it's just random. They said the last one was random, but they didn't say it about this one. So I don't know what's going on. So once they release them, It takes about 4 days to get to Calgary, and then it's going to take another week to get to Ottawa.
Yeah.
But they'll be, as soon as they arrive, they'll be released into inventory on the website as soon as they arrive in Calgary, which will be about 4 days after Canada. Border Services is tired of sniffing it, poking it, and pushing them. I think they sometimes just wonder who's ordering a stack of bricks.
Yeah.
Individually wrapped bricks.
These bricks from Japan.
Clearly these guys are lying. They're clearly smuggling something.
Maybe this is our fault somehow for like looking the way we do and talking about this stuff.
What are you talking about? I look good.
Yeah, you do.
You know who I saw today? Mason. I saw Mason, our designer, today.
Oh, Masson.
Marcel Esti. And he is rocking quite a COVID haircut to the point where he said, I've been locked up so long that my hair has gone through the awkward stages. Now I just look mighty sexy. And he's
wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
He just said, I'm looking mighty sexy and I'm keeping my long hair.
Nice.
And he suggested that you and I do the same.
Oh, this is, you know what? I'm going to bet with Alex, to be honest. So Alex and I have made a bet. And the first one to get their haircut loses.
Oh.
Yeah. But the big difference between Alex and I is that Alex is a 20-something-year-old single man.
You can look as homeless as you want.
Yeah. I got no one to impress. You know, I do, but she seems to like me regardless of what I look like. So
I've been told I can't cut it. I've been told I can't cut my hair. I've been told the hair's good. Keep the hair, grow a beard, she said. Grow a long beard.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, do you ever listen to Nick Cave?
I do.
In his band, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. There's a guy in a band called Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to try to unleash my inner Warren Ellis.
I'll see if I can find a picture of Warren on here. So for those of you on Facebook who've just seen this, this is my father. Or it could be my mom using my dad's Facebook account. That happens sometimes. Now, that's my dad. My dad was in the military for 35 years. And then upon his retirement, decided he was not going to get a haircut anymore or shave his beard, except for my mother's birthday. So once a year, my father gets a haircut. Now, last year, I presume they were all closed in May when my mother had her birthday. So my dad is probably, and I haven't seen him since before Christmas, but I have a feeling that my father's hair is putting Kevin and mine to shame.
What a dirty hippie Daniel Lord is.
Yeah, he looks like Jerry Garcia, my father.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But Craig out in Halifax, huge Nick Cave fan. Kevin and I went to go see Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds a couple years ago. We were supposed to go last year too, but
he went canceled. He's all afraid of COVID or something and went canceled.
Yeah.
Jerk.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to see if I can find a good picture of Warren Ellis. You ever listen to Warren Ellis's other band? You ever listen to the Dirty Three? You ever listen to them?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, it's quite good. He plays violin, but it's
does he or does he pose with it?
No, he actually plays it. He doesn't just wave it at the amps. When I looked up, you got to be careful when you look up Warren Ellis because there's also a comic book writer of the same name. So let's find it.
You got to be careful when you look up Nick Cave because there's an artist in New York called Nick Cave. I've got a picture of them together. I saw a picture of them together just on the weekend.
Here we go. That's Warren Ellis looking quite cleaned up, to be honest.
He looks pretty good there.
Yeah.
He usually just looks like a homeless man who slept in the bushes in a really nice suit.
Yeah. Yeah. Very talented musician, though. Nick Cave and Warren Ellis do a lot of movie scores together. Like
they do.
The assassination of the hell's that movie? It's like Cowboys.
Yeah, that guy. The one with the Brad Pitt in it, right?
Yeah, by the coward Robert Ford or
Jesse James.
Jesse James, yeah. So they've done a lot of good stuff. Oh, here we go.
Something funny about that show, Chris.
What is it? I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Well, neither have I. But the set, which is the cabin
Mm-hmm.
one of the characters lived in, is just here by Calgary.
Oh yeah.
And if
there's a lot of movies get made.
Ever saw, we did a you know how the firemen sometimes do a charity calendar where they have firemen with their shirts off, which is gross.
I know where this is going.
So gross. Nobody wants to see all those muscles and macho guys, good looking fit men with their shirts off. Nobody wants to see that. Oh, exactly.
That's me barfing.
We did for 2 years in a row, and we should do it again. We Jeremy, my friend Jeremy Falkins, and I, as a photographer, we we made a calendar with chefs with their shirts off, which is what everyone wants to see.
Yeah.
And, sadly, I was in there as well in my mighty glory. But I was like with an axe and a bottle of whiskey and this cabin, which is the cabin that was from that show.
Oh, that's fun.
Show, yeah. So there you go.
That's fun.
When my wife saw the picture, she said, "That's a really nice cabin. Where'd you guys go?" Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And Trevor says that Nick Cave does the Peaky Blinders theme, which is true. Yeah, Red Right Hand is the name of that song.
Doesn't everybody do that theme? And it's Nick Cave's song, but like I've heard Snoop Dogg singing it.
Yeah, but I remember I sent you that video. Yeah, I sent you that video for Snoop Dogg. I think it's just because Snoop Dogg is a big fan of the show, and then he did the song. Like he did a version. I thought
he was clearly a huge Nick Cave fan.
He might be. You don't know.
I don't know. He's a weird guy.
He's a weird guy. So
he's been a lefty.
I've heard. Yeah.
It's legal in California.
That song comes up. I've been watching a lot of X-Files the past little while. I found X-Files.
Chris lives in a time warp.
I don't watch new television. All right. I finished watching Twin Peaks. So I started watching X-Files. All right. I seem to only really like music, television, and books that I was too young to enjoy as they came out. So
what's next, Friends? You gonna get onto Friends or 90210?
No, I can't stand that shit. But Red Right Hand comes up in an episode of X-Files called Dwayne Barry, where Scully got abducted. Spoiler alert. 30 years ago, Scully got abducted. So
what?
No. It's true. Here, John.
I hear she might be the next James Bond.
Why not?
She was up for being the next James Bond, I'm told.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it. That totally.
Oh, for sure. Still loving that Kuroshu. Okay, we got a couple knife things. Let's reel it in a little bit.
What's this show called?
This is called Japanese Knife. I did all this part. This is called Japanese Knife 101. You were missing. You were gone.
I've got notes. Somebody printed me notes.
I got notes too. I went through a bunch. I covered. Chris should be proud of me. I've already told everyone to like and subscribe.
You gotta like and subscribe. I don't know what it means, but do it.
Do it. And we're told that you won't miss out when you could actually be missing out on something important by watching this video.
That's likely. Probably unsubscribe and unlike this channel immediately.
Yeah,
immediately.
You know what?
Life might be going on outside. Like, for example, my pervert neighbor is walking down the street with his two little pervert dogs. So,
wow, that's quite the accusation.
The dogs aren't. He just got out of jail. It's not an accusation. It's
okay. Oh my.
It's just the truth. It's just like John Turturro. Like John Turturro in The Big Lebowski. But he lives on my street.
Oh no.
There's somebody behind me?
No, the painting. Who's the art? You son of a bitch. That's not what he asked. Oh, my dad says to watch Firefly and Serenity. They're not old enough, Dad. I was in high school when those came out. I need shit that came out when I was just toddling around. I need to watch Dragnet. That's what I need.
Too old. That's too old, Chris.
No, apparently my dad likes to tell this story. So when we moved around, apparently when we moved, I think it was from Ontario to British Columbia. Every place we stopped on the way there, I would have been like, I went into kindergarten when we got to BC, and apparently every hotel along the way, I demanded to watch the movie Dragnet. But I don't actually remember the movie. I don't know what it's about. So
it's about Dan Aykroyd being a gumshoe.
Yeah, I'd probably like that. I'd like that. Here, our friend John asked us a question a little while ago about our favorite custom handle maker.
Completely gone off the rails.
Oh, and it usually does. We've done a good job. You know what?
I'm gonna go get a handle.
Go get one. So we get these handles from a fella named Dustin. I don't know Dustin's last name. I met him in Toronto a while ago. He makes some really cool stuff with stabilized woods. Really fun. I don't have anything in the store right now. We had a couple come in and put on for a customer not too long ago. They're gorgeous. So Kevin's going to go grab one. His name's Dustin. We've got them. They come in every now and again. They take them quite a long time to make. So we get them in batches. We put some on knives, especially around garage sales. Someone was asking about garage sale, which is, we do it twice a year. Usually is the result of Kevin traveling around Japan. So yeah, this is one of Dustin's handles. So I don't know that they're on the website itself, but let me look. I'll take a look, and just to see if there's any cool pictures. But if you wanted to grab some, you can always send us an email, hello@knifewear.com, and just, hey, I'm interested in picking up some custom handles. I know that they generally live on Naoto's desk. Oh, this is a pretty funky one. The knife's out of stock, but just to give you an example of something else here. Check that one out there, John, just to get an idea. It's completely different than what Kevin had there. But send us an email, hello@knifewear.com. Tell us you're interested in some custom handles. We can get Naoto to send us a picture of what he's got left and what you might be looking to grab, and we can probably sort you out. Yeah. My dad says at the time, it was from Ottawa to Masset. I was 3 years old, and I knew the movie word for word. So I should probably watch it. And see if I still do.
Did you count cards at that age?
Voog, you know what?
Did you buy your underwear at Kmart?
Maybe. I would, to be honest, I am terrible at playing cards. I've never been able to do it.
I love playing cards. We should play together for money.
Yeah, I'll lose.
That's good. I like winning.
Yeah, no, I'm real bad. I actually had this idea of like teaching my stepson to play poker. I think he'd be good at it.
Maybe he can count cards.
I think he could, to be honest. I'm going to start testing him. Voog says, I heard that the Moritaka is back in stock. I heard that today too, doing this video. So,
I saw some more Moritaka's getting wrapped to go out the door when I was at the warehouse today.
Wonderful.
So it just arrived. Because usually what happens is people get on the waiting list, right? The notify me when it's back in stock list, and then they come back in stock. The emails go out and people buy it. So I saw a few being ready to go out. One of them was a 360. There was a 360 wrapped, ready to wrap and go out the door.
Nice.
Great. So that's one of the huge long slicers.
Yeah. Really cool people own those. Yeah. I have one. That's why I said that.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I don't see all the questions here, but I see one from Mount Everest. It's great. But can I first say, Chris, you know the hipster coffee shop?
I do. Yep.
That's beside me.
Yep.
Called Sought and Found. This is the owner's brother, who's right next door at Two Pillars Brewery.
Oh, okay.
And this is like one of their little mini growlers. And I've been drinking their Golden Strong, we call it.
Oh,
It's
that's
very
fun.
Belgian. So of course it's it's two guys, two partners that own it. One's from Hong Kong, one's from Northern England. So they make Belgian beer, obviously.
Of course you do. Yeah.
Obviously. And it's dude, it's so good. The
Oh.
beer's so good. No, you would hate it because you just like you like Coors Light. But if you didn't like Coors Light, for example, you'd love this beer.
Well, the dork asked, Volcom Dork asked, are you two stout IPA or Pilsner guys?
Do you know that we call him the dork because he told us to?
He did. That is true.
Sometimes
This
I
fella
would-
here, yeah, we're not being arseholes. He told us to call him the dork. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
You
don't have to tell us that twice.
No, you make it easy. We're going to go path of least resistance, my friend. I do like stouts. I like Pilsner too. The thing that I like about beer, I don't think drinking beer should. What?
You like crappy lagers. I know you.
I do, but I like Pilsner too. But I drink
a
stout
lager?
sometimes. I'll have one. I'll have
Really?
one stout. Yeah.
Hmm.
If I were to challenge you to a beer chugging competition, I would choose a stout.
Yeah, less fizzy.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, if they do it right. So
I would just
I'm
choose
trying to find the knife questions. There was some. God. God, we're useless. All right, Lorenzo had a good question. All right, it's something that comes up from time to time. What makes Honyaki special or different?
It's just expensive. Don't buy one. No, that's not it. You talk. I'll go get one.
Okay, you go get one. So Honyaki is a very traditional way of making a knife. Usually when the majority of knives these days are made by using 3 pieces of steel. The reason why that's important, and we talk about it a lot, right? Japanese knives are better because they use harder steel, makes a sharper knife stay sharper for longer. If you make a knife completely out of a very hard steel, it becomes very, very delicate. So they usually will put, like in the case of this knife, right? This is a blue carbon steel with a jacket of a homemade Damascus on it. Okay. They use the softer steel, they slap it on the outside. That's what the word cladding means. Okay. It's when you take the soft steel, you stick it on the outside like a jacket. What that does is it creates a bit of shock absorption in a knife. Now with a Honyaki knife, like what Kevin's got on his screen, you can see that wavy line. It's got about, the top 1/5 of the knife, and then you see the wavy line.
On this one,
Yeah.
each blacksmith kind of chooses their own pattern.
Yeah. And the way that they do that, so the reason why it exists that way is that knife is 1 piece of steel. And it's forged and heat treated in the way that a sword would have been. Honyaki, I think it means like true forged or something like that. Like it's and what that means is that they do the real nerdy way to call it is a differential heat treatment. So what they want to do in order to make the knife more less delicate is you need to have a soft portion of steel and a hard portion of steel. So they'll brush mud on the knife and they do it with all the knives. Like you put a bit of mud on it before you put it in to heat treat it. But what they'll do is layer it up on the spine. So what happens is the spine of the knife never heats up as much as the edge. So when you take it out of the fire and stick it in the oil or water or whatever the case is to temper it, which means go from a very high temperature to a low temperature quickly, that's where the hardness comes from, the spine doesn't get as hard as the edge. Now, the reason why it gets to be more expensive is that it's a very difficult technique where a lot goes wrong frequently.
Yeah. They say even a really experienced blacksmith with Honyaki heat treating is going to break anywhere between 1 to 4 knives in the quenching process, and it's usually 2 or 3. So if you go through the whole process of hammering 5 knives, you might only get 4.
Well, and that's where
1 properly heat treated at the end.
Like, I don't bring this, like, there's is very popular show Forged in Fire, right? Now they mostly focus on they focus on like kind of medieval replicas, like it's all about weapons, right? But that's where all the drama in that show comes from, is because they're never doing San Mai. They're never doing it the easy way. They're always shooting for this Honyaki, this differential heat treatment.
Well, and they never anneal the blades either.
Yeah.
Right. That annealing process, like Takeda-san, his annealing process takes 4 days.
Yeah.
And that just takes the internal stresses out. That's like resting the steak after you cook it.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't even do an annealing process. Bob Kramer, right? Hot shot blacksmith in the States. I had a chance to spend a couple days with him, and I was asking him about. I've actually got it on video. We should, it's only 4 years old now. We should get Mason to finish the video. But I was asking him about Forged in Fire, and he had some very strong views about that show.
Well, it's like you and me watching a cooking show.
Well, they asked him to be a chef on it, or they asked him to be one of the
guest or whatever, or like the judges.
Like one of the judges.
Yeah.
And they told him about the show, and he told them they were stupid. He told them to stick it, and that was the stupidest idea he'd ever heard.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
He had very strong opinions about it.
Yeah. I imagine him looking at that show is a lot like, me watching a cooking show.
Yeah, it's the same.
Mount Everest had a good question earlier about razors, Kevin. Alex for some reason. I don't know. With the razor sale starting,
by my daughter's name sometimes.
I was wondering if you could compare the razor makers to knife makers. Like, who's the Fujiwara, the sharpest, highest quality? Who's the Kurosaki who makes flashy, cool stuff?
All right, here we go. Portland is Kurosaki, Portland Razor Company.
Yeah.
With the foldable blades, I think. And
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
And I would say and the Fujiwara, like the top of the line, is definitely. And you've got one.
I've got one. Yeah.
You've got one.
Is Iwasaki.
Yes, it is.
You know what? I could, as we get a little bit closer to, I don't know, what do they got here? I can use it. I'd be okay to shave with my Iwasaki on one of these sometime if anyone would find that interesting. I don't know. You guys tell me. I'd be happy to do it. We could probably fit you in on March 2nd, where the title of the episode is going to be Switzerland, More Than Just a Flag.
By the way, Chris, do you know much about Switzerland?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
No.
But their flag is a big plus.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And that joke comes from my dad joke book.
Yeah. And
Chris, if you've never watched this show before, you'll know. Well, you won't know that Chris Lord is a huge fan of dad jokes.
Love him.
I tell him the Switzerland joke every day.
More than once a day, often.
Often you get it twice, yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to make up for my days off, or you got to make up for the times where I don't answer the phone.
I used to be able to trick you.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, I hear Switzerland and my brain just goes, turns off.
So we're doing a program on March 2nd, are we? Called Switzerland, More Than Just a Flag.
Yeah. So apparently now I have homework to do, which is great.
We're having a whole Switzerland day.
Yeah.
What I don't understand about Switzerland is they're right beside Austria, but no kangaroos.
That one's good. That one's good. I'll take that.
There's no kangaroos.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh, here, we got a good knife question. Iggy is asking, I was going to show off a knife earlier, and then I held off. What is it? You'll have to wait a little longer, Iggy. Bill asks, in a machine forged knife like the Haruyuki Kokuto, how do they do the Nishiji finish? How do they do Nishiji finish anyways, Kevin?
Well, a blacksmith, the way a blacksmith will do the Nishiji finish, excuse me, is they will hammer, bum, 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 hammer the knife, get it to the point where it's finished, but the texture is still rough because they haven't actually like ground it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and at that point the knife is still black. It's still technically like it looks like a Kurochi knife. And what they'll do to do that Nishiji finish, and by the way, it was Fujiwara-san that invented this.
That's pretty cool.
Well, he invented cladding carbon steel with stainless steel on the outside. Him and his father did, and he invented Nishiji finish. There's a reason why he's a big shot and big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, what you do is you take your blank, and I think I've got one here. I know I've got some knife blanks here. Here we go. Oh, that's not it. So you would take your blank that looks something like this, right? So it's mostly done. It's still all black, and it's got the scaling on it. It's like black and rough and gross looking, right? And what you would do is after the heat treat, you would put it on top of a wooden stump and then hammer it with a mallet, like a rubber mallet. And that moves the blade enough that it cracks the black off of here, and all this black just flakes off like a crust on something. And then you're left with a clean silver knife, and that is how you get the Nishiji finish. And then you don't grind it away. You just leave it there, right? You leave that all that texture on there.
I wonder how they do that.
How do they do it? With a roller forge knife with Haruyuki? I don't know.
These are good questions.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, you disappeared. For me.
Can you hear me?
It's because somebody was calling me. My phone's getting in the way of life. So there you go. I don't know how they do it at Haruyuki, but I do know how a blacksmith does it, as they put it on the wooden thing.
Yeah.
Just hammer. And
Robin's got some.
Off.
Robin's got got a bit of an issue. Had a knife left in the sink. Now it's rusty. Had to take the Kurochi right down, and I've still got some rust. I've had to do this myself.
Did you know?
Yeah, I've had to do this myself in the past. Now I did it was a Kagura 150. Got real rusty because I moved.
Well, I would as first steps, I'd use the Knifewear rust eraser, which is like a pencil eraser with a bunch of grit in it. And it's not nearly as aggressive, but it takes rust off in a hurry. Yeah.
Now, if it's really deep in there, Robin, and something like a rust eraser or sandpaper or whatnot didn't work, try a rust eraser, because that does a better job than sandpaper getting into the little nooks and crannies on the knife. The worst case scenario is using finger stones, starting really, really rough and working your way up.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, but I had to do that with that Kagura.
I know where to get finger stones.
Yeah. There's this website. It's called knifewear.com.
Yeah.
So
there might be some in stock. If not, we'll get some in stock right away. Naoto and I just have to. We have a big rock. Naoto and I have a big rock that we're whacking with a hammer and a chisel to get.
Just gotta smash it to bits. Oh, the dork got an email that the Yoshimi Kato Gyuto was in stock. Clicked on the link and it was sold. Can't wait on those.
Get back on that list.
Yes. If you want to put yourself on the list, if you want to give another go, because if you didn't get it the first time you get the
email.
If you didn't get the email or you didn't get it in time, put yourself back on the list, okay?
Yeah, because what happens is the computer decides if you didn't buy it immediately, because you're not a computer.
Yeah.
Anyway, the computer decides that if you didn't buy it within 1 second, you don't want it.
Yeah, computers are harsh that way.
Yeah, so mean.
In reference, so because you're telling dad jokes and my dad happens to be watching, What my father knows about Switzerland is that they've got good army knives.
And that the reason the kangaroos don't come from Austria over is because the kangaroos don't like mountains.
No,
He's probably got something there.
it's probably got something. So, but then the dork said straight razors are black magic and interested in learning about them. I will bring in my Iwasaki one day.
Straight razor? I didn't have one. You know what? I should have one.
Yeah. I'll
Straight razors are fun.
yeah. Because I can take, like, I got quite a bit of stubble here. This wearing a mask at work has really cut down on the amount that I shave.
And brush your teeth.
Yeah, well, no, I brush my teeth lots because I'm stuck in there with it. Right? But I can take all of this off. Like we did when we were locked down.
Oh, sorry.
When we were locked down last year, I had a pretty big beard.
We both.
Yeah, and I shaved it all off using a straight razor. I didn't trim it back or anything. I just hacked it all off and then gave myself this, which I've kept for, the better part of a year now. So that's fine.
Mount Everest is asking Iwasaki versus Takami for the straight razors out of Japan. And I'll tell you what the big difference is after World War II, Kurosaki and his dad were actually still sword makers. But after World War II, they weren't actually allowed to make swords because there were weapons. And they also didn't want to. They said, we just want to they still wanted to make blades, but they wanted to make what he calls a peace blade or a peace knife or something. So whereas a lot of people switched to kitchen knives at that time, he went to razors, straight razors. And the big thing about Iwasaki and his father, and then now Mizochi, who's worked with Iwasaki for 50 years now, they never stopped making the straight razors. And in fact, at one point, they were the only people making straight razors in Japan still. And that went on since the 80s until about 5 years ago. And then hipsters with their fixie bikes and their monocles and their top hats and their curled mustaches decided that straight razors was cool. And they're right. And I have a fixie bike, but I don't have a top hat and a curled mustache. Actually, my fixie bike's on the wall. You can see my fixie bike. It's at your place.
Yeah.
There's my fixie bike. I'm such a hipster. Anyway, it was about the 80s that everybody got out of the game, and Iwasaki was the only straight razor maker in Japan until about 5 years ago. And the difference is skill. Right? It's called workmanship again.
Yeah.
Right. And Kyle is a lefty.
Yeah.
And he's scared.
So I'm gonna go get one just so I can show you some geometry. Well, I think I've got one in the case over here.
Perfect. And Chris is a lefty too. And Chris has one and he's a lefty.
Yeah. So a Kamasori, like a Japanese straight razor, is shaped like a single bevel knife. Okay. So you've got, this is you see the difference, right?
That's flat.
If you look from it's very clear from this angle, right? So in theory, this part, like the shinogi, you lay it as flat as you can to your face to get the smoothest.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm holding this in my right hand right now, and I'm pretending to shave, but you still need to do the other side of your face, right? So I figured if I'm going to hold it in my right hand or my left hand, I can do one side of my face with one side of the razor. I still need to do the other side with the other side of the razor. So it doesn't really matter. It's just it's like backwards to how it was intended, but it still works,
Yeah, well, I talked to Iwasaki about it, and he said, he says you use one side of the razor for one side and the other side of the razor for the other side of your face.
Yeah.
He said, there is no difference. Like there is no. You need a left hand and a right hand one, right? Unless, of course, you were like shaving somebody. If you're a barber, you might have a preference for one over the other, right?
Yeah.
But as a human, you're not going to like shave with one hand and then switch hands and then shave with the other hand. Well, I'm not. I would. My right side of my face would look beautiful. The left side of my face, I'd look like Freddy Krueger, man.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
be good.
I just use my left hand for my whole face, and I'll do that. I don't know. We can hijack one of these days in March, can't we, Kevin?
For what?
I'll shave. I'll shave with my Iwasaki.
Well, what else are the? Because that's not very Swiss. The Swiss never shave with Japanese razors.
No, but maybe it'd be a different story if they did.
Maybe they should.
Maybe
they would keep better time because they're not known for their timekeeping.
No. So Don Penny says he went to Vegas with a friend about 8 years ago and was talked into going for a straight razor shave. Did not enjoy having the knife to his throat for so long and ended up growing a giant beard in response. One thing that I find, if you've ever had a straight razor shave at a barber, now don't compare it to the first time you use a straight razor on yourself, but once you get into the hang of it, I can give myself a much better shave than I've ever had from a barber. Because you get to know your own face.
Shave. I think you would have to go for a shave with a barber and then tell him all the problems and where he did well.
Yeah.
And I think you would have to work hand in hand with your barber for a long time and over many shaves before you got as good a shave from a barber as you can give yourself.
Yeah, agreed. Admiral is asking me if I switch hands, like kind of backhanded. I keep the razor in my hand the whole time. I can't switch. I can't do anything with my right hand. I can like wave and that's about it. So
Chris, I know when Chris when he was only shaving with the straight razor. Did you guys ever see, what's it called? Last Man on Earth? It's a show called Last Man on Earth.
I've seen an episode or two of it, but I don't know what you're going to say. I don't know how you're going to make fun of me.
No, I'm not going to make fun of you.
Yeah. But Ellipses is saying that even just using a safety razor makes for an exceptional shave. And for sure it does. For sure it does.
That's what I use.
Yeah, a safety razor, you'll get as close a shave as with a straight razor. But the thing I like about the straight razor is like, it's kind of like sharpening knives. Like it's a little bit about like creating ritual, a little bit about like taking time for yourself. And I'm not really one to go on too much about this kind of stuff, but like the concept of mindfulness, like when I shaved every day, like I used to just keep a mustache and I would shave. Well, before that, I didn't have a mustache. Like when I first started working here, I would use a safety.
You had a mustache when you first started working?
No, I grew it while I worked here.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a very awkward phase there for a while. Well, because when I first started here, we had Nick Vitito, who was completely clean shaven, Eric Daigle, who was completely clean shaven, and then like John Ledbetter had this like little tiny mustache. So someone had to grow some facial hair if we were going to sell beard oil. So it had to be me.
Took one for the team.
Well, and it seems to work for me. It seemed popular at home. So,
so Chris, I was going to say, because you're left-handed, when you just use your Japanese razor, this is how you start looking, to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it only works in one hand.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you need two razors, actually, if you want to get that's what he's missing, the second razor.
It's a pretty good look, though, right?
Yeah, we should get him to send us an email. I'll sell him a razor.
The other one.
The other razor. Here, what hand did you use? So we were talking about the theme today was machine forged versus hand forged. We talked a lot. What are you saying? What do you got?
I got a box.
Does it have anything to do with what I've got?
I got a box of new arrivals. Yeah, I got a box of new arrivals that nobody's seen, that nobody knows about. And
I know about them.
we could probably really say that these are quite handmade. In fact, they're hand-pulled in Damascus.
Yeah. Well, why don't you?
I got a whole box full.
Yeah. Well, I brought one. I brought mine, but it doesn't look like that one.
Here, Chris, this knife.
Yeah.
If you go and check out the Damascus section of the book I wrote called I have to read it each time, The Knife Nerd Guide to Japanese Knives.
Yeah.
The whole section about Damascus steel is about Ken Kagura-san, and you were there the day with all the photos too. And the interesting thing, I think, is he didn't have any apprentices or blacksmiths, right? So he never passed on his techniques, which is a bummer. Because his techniques were solid, man. He used to buy all scrap. He used to buy all this scrap steel. So when we were there, and I don't know about these knives, but the last batch we got of knives from him were all built with layers. So he does hand-folded Damascus steel. So what he would do is he would take 7 little pieces of steel about that big and quite thin, and he would pile up a stack of 7, put flux in between them, and then hammer forge them into one piece. So you'd have 7 layers.
Yeah.
And then he would fold that one over. No, he didn't. So you'd have 7 layers. And then he would put that aside and make another one that was 7 layers. And he was alternating pieces of shovels and a ship. So he had a ship wrecking yard near him. So he was getting pieces of the ship's hull. So he was going shovel, ship, shovel, ship, shovel, ship, 7 high. So he'd make 3 of these stacks that were 7 high and flattened, right? So he had 3 of these pieces. So we're 21 each.
Yeah, because he glued them, but he had the 7. He had 7 times 3 and then stacked those up.
Yeah. So you take those 3 and then stack them up. So it'd be 21 layers. Did he actually, he gave it, I got to read the book again. He gave them a fold, actually. He took the little layer and then gave it a fold.
And then he stacked them?
Then stacked them and then gave it a fold.
So he went from 7 to 21 to 63.
To triple of that, so 189.
Yeah.
Because he didn't just like fold them over, he gave them like a Z fold, so he kind of did
Yeah, like here's a piece of paper. Like
Chris, you're frozen for me. I can't see you moving.
Oh really?
But
I can hear you.
There you go.
So that's how he did it. Like he had like the piece and then he would whoop and hammer it.
But he did it with steel and a hammer.
Yeah, not a piece of paper.
You had a hard time just doing it with a piece of paper.
Yeah, you don't want to compare me to the artisans.
But so the cool thing about Kagura's blades is they look like old swords, right? Yeah. They've got that real fine Damascus look. Anyway, he has stopped making knives. He retired shortly after we were there, which was what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? This is the same day we met Bob Dylan and his son. But we were there, we met Bob Dylan, and then when we left, he basically retired. Said he just wants to fish now, right?
Yeah.
So he's retired, he's not making any more knives. Now, he has come out of retirement to make a few knives a couple times.
Yeah.
We have no input over what he makes, but almost everything he makes comes to us, which is great. But this is the work of a man who's top of his game, top of his game, and he's not these might be the last ones he ever makes. I don't know because his idea of retirement is very different than mine.
Yeah,
because his idea of retirement is I will just make knives sometimes because I think he's bored. He needs something to do. Right? Everybody needs.
He's a very small town.
Oh, I would be surprised if there was 100 people in this town.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a blacksmith shop, a washi paper maker, and a family mart in this town.
A family mart, yeah, which is a 7-Eleven essentially.
Yeah,
But he was tip top of his skills. Like this is a man we don't talk about him as much as Fujiwara just because he just never made as many knives, frankly. Right? We Fujiwara-san has got a great system where he's got a group of apprentices and he's got employees and they work really hard and they make tons of knives, right?
Yeah.
But this is the big deal.
Yeah.
Craig's Kitchen, who I believe he's out in Halifax, I think, or
Yep.
Halifax, and I believe he's got a one of those huge Moritaka slicers, like the 360 mil.
Yeah, and he's got the 240 Homura Kogetsu.
Was he really? Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Look, this one's made of rubber. Ooh.
You can do that game too. That's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, does anybody want to see this? Somebody say yes if you want to see this knife. If not, we'll stop talking about Calgary entirely. But we got 2 300 millimeter Tsujihikis and 3 240 millimeter Gyutos. Now I know that you have a 240 millimeter Gyuto.
Yeah, I have it right here. I brought it to work today.
I've got a 240 millimeter Gyuto,
Yeah.
but I don't have one of these.
Mm.
Looks like Trevor and Meki, who's fired, and Iggy and Ellipsis have all said yes.
Why is Meki fired?
Oh, I just like to say that. I know
I like Meki. Meki, you're not fired.
I like Meki too. I'm just a bad man. I'm just not a nice guy. For example, that guy there, I'll call him the dork.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is a 300 millimeter Gyuto from Kagura-san. Oh, there we go. And his knives too, since they're made with different types of steel, as they age and as they get older, the pattern will rise out of it, right? Like as the knife gets used.
Yeah, so that's mine on the other side.
And the pattern gets more strong as you use. Oh, and you can see where he's welded on a stainless steel tang.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a whole discussion about faking Damascus steel. And it's totally possible. And they use laser etching and they just fake it. This is not faked. This is the real deal. This is folded steel. Now, like here, this knife here is my Kobayashi R2 Damascus steel Damascus knife. This is layers of steel, but the steel has been layered in a factory, steel factory. So they send bars of layered steel. It's been manipulated and it looks cool like this, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a factory stamped knife, but it's beautiful and it works great. I love this knife. It's one of my favorites. Back to factory knives. That is a factory knife and one of my favorites. This is the antithesis of this. This is seriously real Damascus steel.
Yeah, it doesn't really get more handmade, does it?
God, no. These 5 knives are now actually online, on sale. They're online. I made sure that Ellie put them online today because they haven't been online and we haven't shown anybody these. Like literally, you're the first person, people like you, me, and Naoto and Ellie have looked at these. And I think Tiffany, who runs our warehouse, I think she's looked at them too. I don't know closely, but you and I each have a 240 Gyuto.
Yeah. Here, I'm just gonna pop the links up in the. Oh, someone's already bought one of them. You said there was 2.
There's 3 150. There's 3. They're 240s, but they're actually 250 millimeters long.
Yeah, but you said that there was 2 Tsujihikis, right?
There's 2 Tsujihikis. And they're $2,000 each.
Someone's already bought one. Someone's already bought a 250 Gyuto as well.
Don't say that.
Well, no, it's true. Like I don't. What do you want me to lie for?
He was asking me if this is the first thing I showed you was a Tsujihiki. This is a Gyuto.
Oh, I bet you that's who friggin' bought it too. That son of a gun. Actually, I wanted to say I'm glad Mario's watching.
If anybody's watching, that actually want, like, because I'll show you all 5 of these knives. This will be number 1 of the Gyuto, and I'll show you all of them. And if anybody wants one, let me know which one, and we'll make sure you get the one that you want. Well,
here, I'll take a look, Kevin.
Look at this. I like this section right here of that. That's pretty wild. Anyway, that's number one of the Gyutos. These are interesting too. They're ground super high, so you can see they're ground like that high, which makes them feel really thin. But these are robust, beefy knives. Can you see how thick they are there? But then the tape on the grind makes them just slide through food.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, look at that section right there.
Oh, that's nice.
Right, that's cool. Oh, I've got. Well, you and I both have a 240 from him and an axe.
Yeah, I have the 150 Gyuto as well.
Oh, do you
Big
really?
fan. I do, yeah. That was the first knife I bought after working at Knifewear.
I wish I had one of those. That would have been awesome.
That's a sweet knife.
Someone said, missed the beginning. What is your guys' opinion on factory versus handmade? Drawbacks to factory made knives? I don't think so. I don't think there's any drawbacks. They missed the romance, right?
Yeah.
No connection to an artisan that hammered the steel. Like they missed the romance of it, but honestly, factory made knives are just as good as handmade knives generally.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, there's glare on some of these because they have, the pattern on this one. Wow. Okay, look at this. The pattern on this guy is really, really open. Look how big the pattern is. You see that, right? That, which I would say is not indicative of his style.
Yeah.
This one here.
Yeah, they're usually, the one I've got is very, very tight.
Yeah, look how tight that is. That's indicative of his style in my mind. Look at that. So this is Gyuto number 2. Very indicative of Kagura-san's style. Here's the other side. If anybody doesn't want to look at these, if you're like sick of this, either hang up on us or say, show us something else or talk about something cool, not just handmade.
Well, I can, you know what I've done, Kevin?
Master of knives.
I have.
That's number 2 of the Gyutos. Yes, Chris, you have.
Well, Mario is actually, I don't know if you knew this, Kevin, but you see this saya for my Kagura?
Yeah, how did you get a saya for Kagura?
Mario made it for me.
I want a saya for my Kagura.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Oh, he's a great guy. Mario always comes with treats. He brought us this really great popcorn. So Mario is back and forth between Ottawa and Cornwall quite a bit. And there's some like really cool popcorn maker. And they made like this, I think correct me if I'm wrong, Mario, if you're still watching, but it was like a honey mustard popcorn, like a kettle corn. It was so good. Yeah, who knew?
Okay, Chris, this one's different as well. So the first 2 were different. Number 1 had a really loose pattern. Number 2 had a tighter pattern that was more indicative of his style. Number 3 here also is hollow ground on this part. So from here, from that part to that part, it's hollow ground. So there's a real divot. This would be brilliant for filleting big fish or just kind of cooking anything. But the pattern on this as well is really tight. So very indicative of him. This is Gyuto number 3. So if you really want to buy one of these, let me know if it's 1, 2, or 3. My preference is 3. This is the knife for me because it's almost built like a Yodeba, right? Where this section here is hollow ground right here. So it's really scooped out. That's why.
Someone come to pick up their knife, Kevin.
Yeah, I hear there's a ding dong at my door. I'm not going to answer it.
Yeah. So the Voog was asking about the 150 Gyuto versus Petty. The Gyuto, I should have brought it. It's considerably taller.
Okay.
Very triangular, the Gyuto.
Nobody's looked at this yet. This is been taped up. So we're the first one. So Naoto hasn't even examined this. Chris, we're unearthing here. I hope this isn't like Tutankhamun's tomb with Geraldo. You're too young to remember this.
I've heard about it.
There was nothing there.
Oh, really? It was like Al Capone's vault.
Yeah, it was the same. Well, maybe that was it. That was it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, with Geraldo, right?
Geraldo, yeah. So, but there's a knife in this one.
Nice. Well, you know that it's there.
So, other than Kagura-san and his wife, likely nobody has seen this, and I know nobody at Knifewear has. It's just you and I, and anybody watching.
Make this.
Oh, the tape.
Yeah,
the
getting
tape
closer.
is on that part there.
Oh, that's how you know.
Oh.
That's like that. That's the hair on the steering wheel, so your parents know you didn't take the car.
Did your parents do that?
No, I saw it on a TV show. I was very well behaved as a teenager.
I was not. I mean, I was too.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. First view by humans. It's hard. Oh, can you get that? You can see it there.
Yeah, I can see it.
This is a really loose one again.
Yeah.
Quite a loose pattern.
But you can see the line, like that's one thing I always found really cool about his knives. You can see where it was ground, but you can't feel it. Yeah. And what was his answer when?
That? Oh.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I asked him, how come you can see this line, but you can't feel it that you've ground in there? And his answer was, because I'm really good at grinding knives. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And this one's hollow ground here too. So this one's built. What is there a name for that when they've got like the grind that goes this way and then it kind of scoops out to the spine?
I think people call it an S grind.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So there you go.
How much trouble do you think I'd be in if I bought that knife? Probably a lot, eh? I'm probably getting a lot of shit at home.
I don't think so. I put in a lot of good words for you the other day.
That's true, you did. I might have used them all up though.
Oh, I can put in more good words.
Yeah, maybe I'll give you a phone number. Yeah, I'll give you a phone number.
Yanagiba number 2 and Gyuto number 3 are the ones I want. Those numbers, if you wanted to actually buy those exact knives, those numbers will only work on this show. Naoto and the warehouse team will have no idea. So if you place an order and say, I want number 2, you better tell us. So that I can go and make sure that you get the right one.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to see those knives again? If you want to see those knives again, or which one, tell me. I can show them to you again. Until then, Chris, I met these guys in Calgary. Do you know anything about these guys?
I do. Yeah. I
met them in Calgary. There's like these bunch of hairy-looking dudes with that patch on the back of their jackets, and they look like they rode motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah. BACA, or Bikers Against Child Abuse, is an organization of bikers who exist to empower children to not feel afraid of the world. So there's a lot of different, ways that they go about it, but number one reason is they just go and show up. And usually that's all you need. So I've got, I got one of those on. So I don't know where Kevin went. Bob Selmer. Can you hear me, Kevin? Even though you've wandered away? Bob's got a question about his camo, which I don't know the answer because I only know the one line of camo knives we get. I know that there's 2 camos working in Takaful, so I'm not too sure which one would have made your knife. I have a guess, Bob, but Kevin will know for sure. Admiral Longstash is asking, what's the best all-round knife? What's your pick for a race? Cutting meat, fruit, vegetables, dense, wet. I use a 240 Gyuto for almost everything, Admiral Longstash. Here, I don't know where Kevin went, but I brought, just because we were talking about, oh, what's that, an onion? Maybe I'll cut up an onion. Maybe I won't, because you guys always make fun of me. But I thought it might be cool I'm gonna have to move the computer to the other side so you can actually see. Yeah, you guys are always harassing me about onions, so we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. Let me move my computer over to this side so you can actually see the knife work. Everyone see that okay? So Admiral, most recently I bought a Masashi Kuroshu 240 Gyuto. Really enjoying that. I also really like I like this. This is my Kagura 240, so it would be very, very similar to the knives that Kevin was just showing off. What else? What's another 240 that I really like? The Haruyuki Shiso makes that's a really good one. I like a knife that's really tall. I like a 240 Gyuto because I can I can kind of push, pull, chop. If I'm trying to do something a little more precisely, I can do a little bit of, rock chopping. I don't need to lift my knife up off the board. Right? Oh yeah, Dork, you know what I'm talking about with the horizontal cuts. Everyone's always sassing me. Aaron just asked about these new Fujimoto knives. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have no information on the new Fujimoto knives. That is something that Naoto and Kevin have been working on. I know that they've got something in the works. It usually takes a couple of years for a knife to get turned around. I would keep an eye on like garage sale. Maybe there's a chance that they'll show up around then. But I can't say with any certainty, to be perfectly honest with you. You know what? I just chopped up a potato with my Kagura. And I think I'm going to cut up an onion.
I'm back. We're talking about camo knives. You had questions about camo knives.
Yeah. Bob here has a knife from Shiro Camo.
Ah, he's the other one. Yeah, we don't carry his knives.
Oh, okay.
I have one from him.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We carry knives from the other camo, who is called Big Camo, and the other one's called Small Camo.
Oh, okay.
So we carry knives from Big Camo. I prefer them.
So if you had to guess though, because he's asking about the Damascus, that would be made from like a purchased billet, right?
Oh yeah. Like really, like unless you're paying $1,500, $1,200, it's made from purchased layered steel, and then they manipulate it, right? Like they work hard to manipulate it and give it a good look.
Yeah.
But it's not hand-folded Damascus. These Kaguras are hand-folded Damascus. So are the Hinura knives we carry.
Mm-hmm.
And
we had some from Mizaki.
Sometimes we get Shigefusa. We had 2 from Mizaki. They were $2,000. So once you're getting like above $1,200 or $1,500, then it's likely that it's hand folded Damascus. If it's cheaper than that, no way, man. They're just buying layered steel. And I don't mean just buying layered steel, but it's a very different process, right? They're buying the steel already, and then they manipulate it to give it a cool pattern. Chris, you're cutting an onion wrong.
You know what? I got to disagree with you.
No, you're not cutting an onion wrong?
I am cutting an onion correctly.
You are cutting an onion. You are cutting an onion.
I am cutting an onion. I wouldn't say I'm doing it wrong, though.
It's wrong. Just do it wrong.
Onions do a really good job of making the patina on your knife show up.
Oh, if you just cut onions, most carbon steels kind of turn bluish color. They're actually really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but you'll notice because I've never actually I haven't used this knife that much.
So
Um,
Knifewear says that people have not harassed you about your cutting the onion wrong. It's just me.
no, it's not you. It's not you. It's some. I got nothing nice to say.
It was
Yeah.
some awesome customer.
There's nothing saying that this guy was a customer. He's someone on Instagram.
No, he was just a dick. I mean, just a guy on Instagram.
Yeah, it's just some motherfucker on Instagram.
There's a lot
Should we
of
have? God, isn't there though? Isn't there? The thing I was gonna say though, because I haven't used this knife very much, and the patina hasn't really settled in that much. You'll notice that the onions. It might be hard to tell with the camera, but they do kind of grab a little bit of the iron off of the knife, and they tend to brown up.
Yeah, that happens. Like if a carbon steel knife doesn't have a good patina, it browns your onions for sure.
But it doesn't. I've never. Some people have told me that they can. Maybe I've got bad taste buds. I don't know. I've never found it to affect the flavor of what I'm cooking more than just the sight of it.
Some people say they taste metallic, but I've never.
Yeah, I've never noticed.
I've never noticed it either. I think that's some people. I think it's people eating with their eyes. So it turns out, Chris, that Jacques Pepin, he cuts the onions like you, and the Vogue, that's good enough for him. And Admiral Longstaff says, check your emails. You've got a surprise. It's probably. I wonder if it's an unsolicited Richard pick.
Oh, it's a. Oh no, that's good. A Richard pick. I like that. No, it's a little picture of it.
I don't want to see it. Oh, gross.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a Masakage Yuki, a Takamura Akaguhan, and a Masakage Koishi. They all look to be 210s with a nice bottle of beer.
Oh, I like beer.
Yeah.
I drank it once. I liked it.
Yeah.
So Peter says he's received the knife from Knifewear last week. Kevin's The Knife Nerd Guide to Japanese Knives. The Lobster Stone, the Knifewear 220 1000 combo stone, the Truing Stone, and the Nagura Stone, and he's learning the basics. Thanks.
Well, here, you should check
that
this out.
Seems very Canadian. Why does that seem very Canadian?
I think it's because
he also said he was being polite using the word jag hole. That's nice.
So if you just got all that, gear, Peter, you should check out Owen and Francis. It's kind of same zone. They got it all figured out there now, I hear. 7 p.m. Mountain, 7:15 Mountain Time. So that's 9 here in Ottawa, 9:15. I'm not too sure where you are, but they do a sharpening demonstration every Thursday. Usually starts off with the basics.
Chris,
excuse me, I got the hiccups.
7 p.m. is 10 p.m. your time.
Yeah, but not 7 p.m. Mountain. You're on Mountain Time.
Oh, they're at 7 p.m. Mountain? Oh, I thought they were. Oh, okay, sorry. I just assumed they were doing it in Vancouver time.
Yeah. Well, I know where Peter Brown is from, but but you could follow along with them and ask questions while they go. If you were looking for some more, and they usually start with the basics and it gets pretty nerdy by the end of it. If you're just interested in just straight up nerdiness, just hit up Naoto's show on Fridays, which is going to be Friday. Yeah, same time. Naoto's Nerd Hour, we even call it.
Well, it's called Naoto's Nerd Hour of Power now.
Now, Hour of Power? I'll fix that on the caption.
It's either Naoto's Nerd Hour of Power or Naoto's Nerd Power Hour.
Well, what do you prefer? I'm going to call it Naoto's Nerd Power Hour.
I prefer whatever Mason put on the logo.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with that for now. Oh, I made it worse. No, it's this one I want. There we go. I don't know what I'm doing, guys.
There's two Peters. The man with two Peters is different than this.
It's different than this video.
Hmm.
So. So yeah, Naoto's. So blank Naoto is on Friday, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. If that's what you mean. If you're asking about the man with two Peters, I don't know when that's on, and I'm not too interested. To be perfectly honest,
You're not slightly interested. You're not curious.
no, not today. You know what I should do? We're down to our last 10 minutes. So I'm going to do some housekeeping.
What's good? Because I have to leave here pretty quick.
Okay. So let's start winding up. If you got a question or two, fire them into the chat. We'll get to them. There'll be quick answers though. Today was I don't know if you caught this. Today was our 30th episode.
30 times we went and did this. So I talked to you for about 60 hours.
Yep. And that's just on screen. That doesn't count the other 2 hours a day that we generally talk.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them.
I have all kinds of things highlighted on my sheet. One of them is the old don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram if you like, at Knifewear. The website's knifewear.com. If you subscribe on YouTube, you won't miss any videos. We just had a really great video go up. It was
with Mike.
With Mike, yeah, how to use a cleaver, how to chop bones with a cleaver. It was not one of the ones where he breaks things. It was one of the ones where he teaches you a useful skill. So give it a watch. It's quite good. Mike's very good at the teaching people stuff, whereas we're better at rambling and for some reason thinking that we're entertaining, I guess.
No, we're good at teaching things.
Well, sometimes.
You a pretty weird way to cut an onion. That was pretty good.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's important.
Joke's on Kevin. He paid for the onion, so.
You charged me for that onion?
Yeah, that's right. You paid me to do it, and you bought the onion.
I didn't pay you. You're after work.
This is volunteer. I'm actually chained to this cutting board.
I hope I paid you. It's important.
Yeah.
Lorenzo says, do we have sayas for Hanasukis? Just use a small blade guard. Hanasukis are different in shape. Don't never buy a Hanasuki saya that's separately because they'll never fit.
Yeah. Not without being able to try it on.
The dork talked about Mike's new show and said Mike seems quite clever and quite entertaining.
Or clever with a cleaver. You know what? That is actually really good evidence that Volcom dork is Mike.
Oh, I didn't think he was, but you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Clearly he's Mike because nobody's found Mike entertaining or clever.
No. So yeah, we've got.
That's your boss, you know.
He doesn't
watch these. He's too busy.
He doesn't watch this. He's like my parents and my girlfriend.
Sit-ups or something.
Yeah, he's too busy making a list of things for me to do. So we've got the straight razor sale at Kent of Inglewood coming up. It's not just straight razors. So Kent of Inglewood is our other. You know what? Here we go. Let's just go for a little walk. So
let's look
Knifewear,
at Kent of Inglewood products here.
So Knifewear Ottawa has this little room at the back.
Look at this. Camellia oil.
Kevin, I'm trying to give a tour.
I'm showing Kent of Inglewood things. I'm helping you. There's their guide to shaving.
So I've got, if anyone walks by the front of the store right now, I look absolutely insane. But so Kent of Inglewood.
You are insane mostly.
It is true. The doctor told me that one time. So back here.
Did you say mostly or often?
Mostly. They mostly come at night. Okay. So here's Kent of Inglewood, Ottawa. We've got axes and outdoor knives, straight razors and safety razors, all kinds of beard stuff, shaving stuff. It's a lot of fun. But all the razors, so safety razors and straight razors, are going to be 15% off during the month of March, which is awesome because we've only ever done straight razors before. We've never done safety razors too. So that's a pretty good nudge, I think, to try a new way to shave.
I think so.
It's totally breaking everything.
Mike just said he's in Portland.
Mike would say that.
Yeah, don't get invaded by the Germans, man.
Oh my!
That was Poland. Never mind.
That was, yeah, you got your P-lands all mixed up.
Sometimes
fact, I watched a lot of old, because we like to joke about me watching old TV. It's not really a joke; it's something I do. Portlandia, you like that show, Kevin? You've had a few laughs at that show.
I'm not hipster enough to like that show.
You are, and you do. But the mayor of Portland in that show is Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks. His assistant on that show is the actual mayor of Portland. At least
I was going to say, I knew that.
Yeah. Fun facts.
I knew that.
Fun facts with Chris Lord. Is that one of those microphones?
I knew that.
You know what I've seen? So
I knew that. Can you imagine?
Have you seen the videos of people taking those and they put them behind their dog when the dog's asleep, and then the dog farts and it gets real loud and scares the dog?
Do dogs fart when they sleep? That's gross.
Yeah, dogs fart all the time. They're gross.
Gross.
I gave a tour of Ken of Inglewood and then I got all distracted.
Of Inglewood.
Oh, I need one of those.
Well,
Usually I get a...
You can get one for Christmas.
Nice.
That's
Lorenzo's asking for a story.
yeah.
I guess I do often close these with a story. You know what though, Lorenzo? I've never once planned a story or prepared one. They usually just end up happening.
We were in Kyoto for a week. Do you remember that?
True. I do, yeah.
What did you eat for breakfast?
I ate onigiri every day. Oh yeah, Blank wants to know about our new show.
He's only asked 4 times. We've ignored him every time.
Well, that's mean of us. I don't mean to be like this.
Chris is like that all the time. He's terrible.
Yeah. No.
The show should be showing in the first one should be in April.
There we go.
It should be a monthly 20 to 40 minute show about kitchen knives, hosted by Chris Lord, Naoto Fujimoto, who I told live on air on last Friday when he was on the show live that he was going to be a host, and he went, "Oh, okay."
Blank, it's not your fault. It's our fault for being terrible.
It's Chris Lord's fault. The 3 of us are going to host this show, and it's going to be us hosting a show. There's going to be some pre-recorded stuff, and I believe at one point Mike and I are having a knife sharpening challenge, and the loser has to drink coffee made from the knife sharpening water. In case you're interested.
That sounds terrible.
The competition or the
either. I don't know. The coffee was really what I was thinking about. But my bad attitude really shone through there.
By the way, I sprung this on Naoto last week. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I sprung it on him live on his
last week. Oh no, it would have been.
It's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I sprung it on him live, and I went, "Oh, Naoto, we're doing that knife show, and you're the host with me and Chris." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Oh, look, we got a question."
Yeah, it is a very Naoto response, Peter. You're right.
It was so funny.
Oh, we should get a sharpness tester thing for that. I think that's just Naoto.
Yeah, well, we're gonna use our in-house sharpener test, but there is one called Katra that the English have developed, which is like a little stack of papers, and then the knife comes up.
Oh yeah.
and the knife comes up and goes and slices through the stack of papers.
They have one of those at Tojiro, don't they?
Yeah. And then they count
Yeah.
how many slices were cut, or how many
sheets.
Sheets. Thank you, not leaves. How many sheets were cut, and then they can tell you how sharp it was.
Yeah.
Funny story about that knife. They'd only tested European knives with that machine, and then it was about 15 years ago, they were brought the Hadayuki Yokuma knife, and that was tested, and it actually cut through all the papers they had in their stack, and it dented the machine.
Do you remember?
So now they have, like, they've changed it. So like if they're doing European knives, they have that many, but if they're doing Japanese, they have that many sheets of paper.
Do you remember there was that little viral video with the kotetsu of like cutting the phone book?
It's a true story, dude.
Yeah, no, viral just means that it's very popular. Doesn't mean that it's fake.
No, I mean, like, my story was true.
Well, yours,
They change when they do it.
Yeah, that's
Just all
cool.
be in awe for a moment, shouldn't we?
Wow.
Okay, tell me about your phone book. Did you rip it in half? Are you that strong?
No, I'm not that strong. I don't even think I could rip it in half the easy way. But
anyway, what are you saying about phone book? The viral
I was
video?
saying there was there was a viral video of the kotetsu with the cutting the corner off the phone book. You never saw that?
Never saw it.
It was put in, like, remember a few years ago, like kotetsu was featured in like GQ or something like that. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. That's when Shiba bought the Ferrari.
Yeah. But that was part of their thing, like part of their, that was their clickbait for come read the article, was a little picture of a kotetsu just cutting the corner off of a phone book.
I didn't know that.
And I remember, like, Jordan Hawley, who was at the time, he was the chef at Datsun here in Ottawa. He's at Riviera now.
I love that place. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a company.
But then he would he texted me and said, "I want the phone book knife." And so I got him one.
Can do that.
Yeah. So
Aaron said there's the best sharpness test I see on YouTube all the time. Send me a link. Chris, I like the face you make when you're reading. You should wear your glasses.
Shut up.
I like it.
I don't know what that. I see a picture of it, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, it's like the face I make when I can't hear you either.
Well, I don't know. I can't see either. I got glasses. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. Well, you wear yours. I don't even know where mine are half the time.
I'll walk into walls, man.
So Kevin and I went to Kyoto one time.
Oh, we're actually having a story.
We're gonna do it because, you know what? It's past 8 o'clock and I need to go home and Lorenzo needs a story.
Actually, can I just say one thing first?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me what this painting behind me was.
Yes.
And it's
asked you that earlier.
Well, the Voog did. Oh, I don't know if the Voog's listening anymore, but Mr. Voog,
Voog's here.
if you look,
Voog's here.
it's a painting by an Alberta artist. His name is Alex. He used to be Alex Janvier, but now he's Alex Janvier. He's decided to go Janvier moniker because he said, "Hey man, there's nothing French about my background. I'm First Nations, so screw that." And he paints up in Cold Lake, Alberta, which is the middle of nowhere. And if you go to the Museum of Man, is it called Museum of Civilization?
I think it's called the Museum of History now.
Oh, they keep changing its name. So it's the Museum of History now in Gatineau. Thank you. Across the street, across the river from Ottawa. Designed by a Calgary or an Alberta artist called Douglas Cardinal. So another First Nations artist is the architect for the building, which is why it looks so cool. And he's also an Alberta artist, an Alberta architect. Anyway, if you go, there's that one area with the ceiling. If you look up, there's a round ceiling, and the round ceiling is painted by Alex Janvier.
Oh, cool.
So see his work. You can see his work at that museum as well. Or you can
Oh,
just
that's
tune
incredible.
in and look right there.
Tune in every week. You're gonna have to move the art around at some point so we can see other stuff.
I can just move my camera. Those are
There you go.
by Judy Wada, who spends half her time in Calgary and half her time in Tokyo. But she likes to paint. Those are landscapes of Saskatchewan. You can see green at the bottom and then sky with a straight line separating them. Very Saskatchewan. And Judy and I drank a very expensive series of scotches at the bar that's featured in Lost in Translation, the film with Bill Murray and
Oh, you told me that before.
Face. Yeah, so Judy and I drank a very expensive lot of very expensive whiskey at bar, but it was incredible. So he said, "Do you want it on the rocks or just straight?" And I said, "Straight." But then I saw that he was cutting. He was actually like picking up ice and then like chipping away at it and carving shapes for people, then stick it in their glass. It was like, oh no, I'm having my scotch on the rocks today. Well, it wasn't scotch, it was Japanese whiskey. So he'd pick it up and jab away at it and make a beautiful shape. And he'd go, "Is this the shape that's acceptable for you, mister?" And he would say, "Yes." And he'd put it in the glass. Or you'd say, "No, take some of that off." And he'd go, "Okay." And then change the shape of it and then put it in your glass and then pour the shot of whiskey on top. It was fantastic.
That's pretty classic.
Anyway, that's Judy's. That's Judy's. So I've got 3 of her paintings of Saskatchewan back there. I like paintings. Paintings are fun.
Yeah.
And Chris Voog says he's got some Salish art that he's going to send me so I can hang in here so he can watch them on the program. So
Oh, that's nice of him.
That's
That's
nice,
very
Mr.
nice of
Voog.
him.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really
Yeah.
kind of you. Thank you very much, Chris Voog.
I should have one of those.
I'll get you one. I'll send you one.
Thank you. Please.
Go across the street to Miss Tiggy Wiggles. They'll have one.
They're not there anymore. It's a weed store now.
They also might have one.
That's true. I actually found out today that the weed store is the same people who own Miss Tiggy Wiggles.
Well, that's funny. Snapchat's gonna like you that much.
Well, that's pretty honest, you know?
Listen, I like honesty.
Yeah, it works. It works for us. Was I going to tell? What was it? What Kyoto story should I tell? There's a variety of appropriateness.
Triangle breakfast? Yeah, well, the one's not appropriate, but it's funny.
It is. Maybe we'll save that one for the St. Patrick's Day one where Nathan says we're drinking. So I hope Nathan is buying me.
Parameters. We have to set up parameters for that.
Yeah.
We've got apparently, what's that? The 16th, so it's like the day before St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
We're having the drinking episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Which means I guess I'm off St. Patrick's Day.
But wait, what was the rules every time someone says knife?
Every time someone says knife, we have to drink.
Or in comment, we have to drink. What do we drink?
Well, if it's St. Patrick's Day, we should probably drink
Guinness.
We could drink Guinness, yeah.
We should drink. You look sad by that.
No, I'm thinking, well, because I was worried for a moment it was going to be whiskey.
Well, no, that's not sensible at all.
No. Although I'm quite good at drinking whiskey. But this show, if you think it's bad now, imagine if we were drunk.
It's bad now. Could you imagine how bad that would be?
Yeah. Like, guys, I try not to curse too much.
I try to be interesting.
I might not even try to not curse. So, okay, so we went to Kyoto. And the reason Kevin and I went to Kyoto was it was the research kind of writing stage, because we decided that we were going to make a television show called King Kappa. And I'm not going to tell you everything about it because I think one day we're going to get there. I don't want to ruin it. But Kevin and I went to Kyoto with the goal of mapping out our television show. And so I flew to Calgary to meet up with Kevin, and then we flew together from Calgary to Narita. And we were very tired. when we got there. And while we were in the duty free, I decided it would be a good idea.
This is we haven't left yet.
Yeah, we hadn't even left yet. So I had the idea, I thought it would be a very good idea for me to buy a liter bottle of bourbon. I like bourbon.
At least you bought it, because that's famously smooth.
Yeah.
Like fire, like eating a red hot coal.
Yeah. So, Blank just watched Springhammer 2 and said you did a great job on it. That's nice to hear. I had nothing to do with that, though.
Well done, Chris. You did a great
That was
job.
All him. So, I bought this bottle of Bullet bourbon.
It's coming.
And then we got to Narita. We got on a train. We took the train from Tokyo to Kyoto. And then we took a cab, didn't we? From the train station. We had to wait in line for the cabs. And they've got very strange taxis in Japan. You don't actually touch the door. There's this guy. The driver has it's almost like a broomstick taped to the door, but like the Japanese version of it. So it's very, yeah. It's like a bus. Okay, it's like a yellow school bus where they go and open up the door, except it's a car. And I could easily just open the door, help myself in, like any other cab I've ever been in. So it turns out you're not actually allowed to touch the door.
Oh yeah,
because
don't
if you.
Chris.
Because if you try to, may or may not have learned this the hard way, if you take it upon yourself to close the door, you will break his stick. And then they don't like you.
No, it's not even don't like so much as hate.
Yeah. Now, after you may or may not have broken the door in the cab.
Chris totally didn't break the door.
After you've done that, it helps to know where you might be going. Turns out that they don't have street addresses like we're used to in Kyoto.
Oh, they're harder in Kyoto. Did I explain how they work?
You can't? Yeah, go for it.
There's a crossroads. So there'll be two busy crossroads in Kyoto, right? Two busy crossroads, and they will name your address after the crossroad that's close. But depending on which road, the north-south or the east-west road that they name first, tells you which quadrant close to that crossroad it's in. And then once the mailman or the postman knows which quadrant it is, then they say, the address literally is across from the school.
Yeah.
The blue door across from the school or whatever. Because it doesn't, you'd have to be from that area to know.
Yeah.
Right. And it works. We laugh and we think it's a silly system, but it absolutely works for post. Yeah. It works for people in the neighborhood. And then what happens to the cab drivers? They just get close and they just start shouting out windows at people and asking them where to go.
Yeah. Except this was very late at night and there weren't many people around and there were two gigantic gaijin in the back of this guy's car and the door was broken.
Japanese broke the door.
No, we can't speak any Japanese.
Likely it was someone before us that broke the door.
Someone did, yeah. And I think it was just a soft spot for the guy. Like, he was upset. So it takes a very long, because all we have is a printout from the Airbnb with the address. Apparently not very helpful for this particular guy driving the car with a broken door.
Luckily, I can read a map, so it was fine.
Luckily, so then we do find it. We get into the place. We drop our bags, if I remember correctly, and then we went wandering, as we do, jet lagged and silly. We go wandering. I think we found something to eat.
Still up. We had to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. So we went and we found something to eat, had a couple drinks while we were there. And then I was like, well, what about this bourbon? So then we drank most of it. There's very little left in the end.
Very little, a liter, because it wasn't size, it was a liter.
Yeah, yeah. So then at some point during the night, our phones started going off.
Oh, that's right.
because there was a typhoon going in to Kyoto, and these were like evacuation orders.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the conversation, but I can remember Kevin knocking on the door and saying, "We're supposed to leave. There's a typhoon." And I don't even know if I grunted a reply, but I woke up in the morning with a very sore head and feeling lucky that I was still there.
The typhoon didn't kill us, which was nice.
No, but it was very rainy that week in Kyoto.
Very wet that week. We bought and stole a number of umbrellas.
So many umbrellas.
Wow. I would like to point out that stealing umbrellas in Japan is not really a thing. What happens is you have an umbrella. Everybody buys the same crappy umbrella.
Yeah.
When they stick it at the door, they stick it in the little holder.
Yeah.
And they go and they do the thing. They come out and grab the cheap umbrella and leave, right? So
Yeah.
you'll go to the 7-Eleven. There'll be 9 umbrellas out there, but there's only 2 people inside.
Yeah.
And it's totally a Japanese acceptable thing to just yank that one umbrella because there's extras, right? And then just use it until you get to the next one. Then stuff it in the thing and take it from when you leave.
Yeah, and they're only like $2 or $3. Like they're
Yeah, like they're super cheap.
yeah.
They're not very good.
No. But
They're small and they break easily. And if the wind blows, they pop inside out.
and so that was night 1 in Kyoto.
Night 1.
Got blindingly drunk, slept through a typhoon, and then I woke up because I've been to Japan twice. Kevin's been many more times than me, but when I go, I've struggled with the jet lag really badly, and I'm usually I say usually like I do it all the time, but both times I was there, I would get up in the middle of the night and go for a walk. And then it would turn out, Japan's a very safe place, especially when you're about 3 times as big as everyone else. And I kept ending up at Family Mart, which is like
square meters of tattoos on your body.
Yeah. There's I'm avoided when I go. And I ended up in Family Mart, and I would play this game that I called Onigiri Roulette. Because onigiri is like a little rice. Sometimes they're a ball, but they're these triangles. They're wrapped in nori, but there's something inside. I can't read any Japanese, so I would just look at them, and every brand was different. And because like as soon as I thought I figured out, like, oh, I like the blue one because it's tuna and mayonnaise, and then I go to a different store, blue was something different.
Yeah.
So I probably had 3 of them every day for breakfast, and I got 3 different ones, but they were always different. You can get one with like salmon roe in it, salty salmon roe. There was tuna. Sometimes there was shrimp. There was the umeboshi ones, the little
those are my favorite
plums. Yeah. I found one that had some kind of barbecue meat in it one time, but I could never find it again.
Oh, was it eel?
No, it didn't taste like, it wasn't like fishy. It was like pork or something. It's like a teriyaki one. So but I lived off those every day. I would eat like 3 onigiri for breakfast.
Well, because one of the characters in our show, the main character in our show that we're writing at that time, would be the kind of guy that would just eat at 7-Eleven because he was afraid of Japan.
Yeah.
And he couldn't speak the language and he was afraid to learn anything. So he would probably just eat at 7-Eleven. And that's not an unusual situation for a lot of foreigners to find themselves in.
Yeah.
Scared, they don't know. And they just
to be honest,
and you can.
The food in 7-Eleven in Japan is a lot better than a lot of restaurants I've been to in Canada.
Yeah, that's a true thing. Though I had Boston Pizza the other day, and they must have got a new chef because it was really good.
Did you get a pierogi pizza?
Can you?
Oh yeah, dude. The pierogi pizza at Boston Pizza, like, is pretty good. Like, I would. So, okay, so you know, like Steve and Jen Wall, who own Supply and Demand. Jen was a server at Boston Pizza for a very long time. And I've worked with Steve on and off for years, right? So pierogi pizzas would often make their way home. Or she was coming to pick Steve up from work. Well, here's a pizza, boys, right? So, but the pierogi pizza, Kevin, it's a lot like a tarte flambe, if you recall those. So you got your pizza dough, you got sour cream on it, you got layered, like little slices of potato, and some bacon, some cheese, some green onions, and then a big glob of sour cream in the middle once it's done.
I'll
It's
eat
not
that.
bad. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Peter Brown worked at Boston Pizza. Says it's stupid popular. Had to make so many when he worked there.
Not the other Peter. It's been a two.
Not
Peter.
the other Peter. Yeah, that's confusing, guys. Next time, if you could coordinate and let us know who's going to be here. Yeah.
Peter Man.
Well, look at that. I said that we were going to go 18 minutes ago.
Yeah, you suck.
I do. I'm bad at keeping time. Well, here, I'm going to just make it official now. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to remind everybody that they should like and subscribe. Check us out again on Tuesday, next Tuesday. Apparently, we're talking about Switzerland for 2 hours. I don't know why we'd want to do that. And I'll eventually grab a razor and I'll shave with it. I'll show blank blank.
What
I
do you
think it was
shave?
blank blank. I don't know. I'll just shave my normal. I like my beard. I like my weird Lemmy beard, so I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, I just bleed out on a. Someone will have to come get me. So.
Well, fried chicken.
Peter Brown is like fairly close. So
If you start some.
if I braise a lamb neck there, if I start cooking a lamb neck before I shave,
they'll be on.
the fire department will be here by the time I've cut myself. I won't hurt myself too badly shaving with a straight razor. So that's hopefully unnecessary. But don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the stuff that Chris Armitage tells me to tell you guys. We got new videos coming out all the time. I don't know.
So professional.
You know what? If you want professional, you'll watch, I don't know, a different YouTuber. I got nothing for you guys. I'm tired. My dog got up in the middle of the night, yipping at me. It's a real pain in the ass. Well, Peter, get your mom to drive. Get your mom to come down. Your mom's a nice lady. She probably cares about me.
Who's Peter Brown?
Peter Brown is the guy who worked at Pizza or Boston Pizza. He made the pierogi pizzas. I volunteered him to come get me if I were to bleed out. And he says, sure, volunteer the guy who doesn't drive. And I said, I'll get your mom. She's nice.
Do you know her mom?
So,
I don't understand what's going on here.
His mom and Peter, they both have knives. His mom has this great little Takeda. She's a lovely lady.
Trevor says we're already at 6 likes.
Oh, God. Are we supposed to be proud about that? I don't know. That sounds shitty, Trevor.
That sounds really awful.
That sounds like we should stop doing it.
I'm going to go like it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go do it too. Where is it? Here, I don't know how to do this.
I hate Trevor.
Oh, no, we got 10. We're up to 11 now with me.
I'm going to go like it too.
Yeah, Lorenzo says we're at 10. Oh, 11, Lorenzo.
I liked it.
Look at that. What a team effort, everybody. Yeah. Oh, and Peter says, I think this makes it your most liked videos so far. I don't know if you're trying to be nice or if... Peter, come on, man. All right. This is... All right. I'm going to go now before I start thinking about this too hard.
We won't see you later.
Yeah, later, guys.
We've been canceled.
Yeah, Naoto's going to talk about Switzerland next week. All right, I'm going to say goodbye for real. It's been a blast as always, everyone. Bye-bye. You can like Trevor. I don't know how to do it, but go for it.